Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 792. House Bill 792.
House Bill 792 by Representative Brockway of the 102nd. Be entitled an act to amend Part 3 of Article 4, Chapter 11 of Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to carrying and possession of firearms, so as to authorize the carrying, possession, and use of electroshock weapons by persons who are students who are employed at a public institution of post-secondary education. This bill has been referred to the Committee on Public Safety and Homeland Security. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Chair recognizes Representative Brockway to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I thank you for your time today. Bring before you House Bill 792. This is a straightforward bill that would allow people on public college campuses to keep in their possession a stun gun, or what we're calling in the bill an electroshock weapon. Over the summer, I spoke to many groups of college students, as I'm sure many of you did, and several of those groups were college Republicans, and as you might imagine, the topic of firearms on campus came up. Thankfully, the House passed that measure yesterday. But during my discussions, some students gave me the information that they thought that they were not allowed to carry even pepper spray on campuses, and I thought that was rather strange. So I did some research, and I found the students were misinformed, and so I went back and informed them that they are allowed on every college campus in the state of Georgia to carry pepper spray. However, during my research, I found that many public colleges in Georgia strictly prohibit the use of stun guns or tasers on campus for personal protection. So consequently, I brought this bill before you today. I think the bill makes it clear on line 19 that these electroshock weapons are to be used in self-defense for one's own person or someone else who needs defending. Current law, I believe, deals with situations where these devices may be misused. That's dealt with in other parts of the law. So I don't think that that really is a problem. You know, the right of self-defense is a right that's older than our Constitution and older than our Second Amendment, the Second Amendment that we debated so vigorously yesterday. In fact, many ancient writers and thinkers consider the right of self-defense to be a natural right, or a right belonging to us whether a government exists to protect it or not. Cicero said it well when he said, "There exists a law, not written down anywhere, but inborn in our hearts, a law which comes to us not by training or custom or reading, but by derivation, the absorption and adoption from nature itself. A law which has come to us not by theory, but from practice, not by instruction, but by natural intuition. I refer to the law which lays down that if our lives are endangered by plots or violence or armed robbers or enemies, any and every method of protecting oneself is morally right." And HB 792 recognizes this natural right that our students, faculty, and others on college campuses have to defend themselves from those who seek to do them harm. As I see it, providing those on college campuses the ability to carry an electroshock weapon is another option we can provide people to protect themselves. As Cicero said, people have that natural right to use any and every method to protect themselves. I urge you today to vote in favor of House Bill 792 and provide people on our public college campuses another option in protecting themselves. Mr. Speaker, I'll be happy to answer any questions on that. I know we have a lot of work left to do today, but I'll be happy to take a few questions, sir.
You have a number of questions if you care to yield.
Yes, sir. I'll yield for a few. Thank you, sir.
Chair recognizes the Minority Leader of the House, Leader Abrams, to your left for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Brockway, is there an age limit on who may be allowed to carry these weapons?
No, there's not in the bill, and in my research of the law, there's none that exists in Georgia code. So you can agree or disagree with my decision, but I decided not to include an age limit in this bill at this time.
Will you yield further?
Yes, ma'am.
So is it not true then that any student who is dual enrolled in high school and college, meaning someone as young as 13 or 14, will now be allowed to carry a stun gun onto a college campus?
Yes, ma'am, that would be inaccurate. I think those cases are extremely rare. I have a daughter who's about to do dual enrollment. She'll be a senior, so she'll be 17. But yeah, there not being an age limit would, in those extremely rare cases where somebody's under the age of 18 on a college campus, it would apply to them. Yes, ma'am.
One final question.
Sure.
Is there a voltage requirement or a voltage limit on these stun gun weapons?
There's not. It does specify that we're talking about devices that are commercially available. I think that the vast majority of these devices that are commercially available are meant merely to stun someone long enough so that the victim can get away. So there are dozens and dozens of different types of these devices out on the market today. I didn't want to create a 50-page bill where we're describing each and every one of these devices, but just trying to keep it simple. So,
Thank you.
thank you for your questions. Mr. Speaker, I'll yield for a couple more if time allows, sir.
You yield further?
Yes, sir.
Chair recognizes Chairman Taylor to your right for a question.
Gentleman, yield.
Yes, sir.
Representative Brockway, is it not true that this offers an intermediate, what I'll call non-lethal force option to have someone, escape an attack and get away?
Yes, that's the whole purpose, and that's why we clearly say on 919 these are to be used in self-defense. Okay, these are non-lethal weapons. They're not going to. They're meant to be used in a situation of a close proximity attack where the victim can zap somebody and get out of there. So that's the purpose of these devices. So yes, sir. Thank you for your question.
Yield for another question, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just one more. One, if somebody's of small stature or say handicapped or something like that, this offers them a little bit of standoff where you're not, in a ground fight or locked up
Yeah.
with somebody. Gives them a little bit of standoff and time to get away.
Yes, sir. I believe it does. I would agree with that assessment. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You have further questions if you care to yield.
Mr. Speaker, I know we have a lot of bills left today, so I'll take one more question if that's okay.
Chair recognizes the Minority Caucus Whip, Representative Hughley, to your left for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does a gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
In presenting this bill, did you all discuss misuse and pranks? Because with the age limit being unlimited, there are children who actually grew up on college campuses. We've heard that, as a matter of fact, yesterday. So did you all consider any of that?
Yes, ma'am. The things, the pushback I get is, as Ms. Abrams said, the age limit, and I'm certainly willing at a later date. It's too late now because we're here debating this on the floor, but that's an issue that's been raised a number of times. As for college pranks and so forth, my answer to that is this, that these devices have been on the market for a long time. We don't see, to my knowledge and my looking of coverage of these devices, a rash of misuse of these devices off college campuses. People have parties all the time and do dumb things at those parties. But we don't really see, to my knowledge, a lot of misuse of these devices. I think they are, it kind of gets down to this. I trust that college students will be able to protect themselves and will be able to use these devices wisely. A person who's going to purchase a device like this is someone who's concerned about their personal safety. They're going to take steps necessary to use it wisely and not be involved in situations where harm might occur. But to add on to that, this is a non-lethal device. Even if the rare occurrence happens where a device is misused, first of all, you have other things in the law to deal with that. If somebody is zapping somebody just for fun, there are other laws that deal with that. I think you could classify that as assault if somebody's really being egregious with that. But again, being a non-lethal weapon, I think I trust college students to act wisely.
This gentleman further yield.
Yes, ma'am.
So if we're going to arm our college students, why do they need this?
Well, it comes down to this. There are a number of different ways you can choose to protect yourself. Pepper spray, as I mentioned before, is already allowed on college campuses. Pepper spray is also a defensive device. Pepper spray is also a non-lethal device like stun gun. I describe these more if you're looking on the spectrum of things that of personal protection devices, it's a lot more like pepper spray and mace than it is like a weapon, because the instances of people dying by this are almost non-existent outside of law enforcement uses. Now, this is just another option that we can provide people on a college campus. I support campus carry. We voted for that yesterday. But not everybody, even if campus carry becomes legal, not everyone is going to want to carry a gun on a college campus. So this provides another option for people to choose from.
One further question, if the gentleman
Yes, ma'am.
will yield.
Absolutely.
Will the college campuses have any way of knowing how many of these devices are there on their college campus, and how are we holding our students accountable or responsible to make sure that these devices are not, left in classrooms or
Right.
where they could be misused by others?
Well, I think the way I'd answer that, and I appreciate the questions, I don't know that there'd be any way we could really track how many students carry these. So I'm sorry, I don't have a good answer for you on that. There's no mechanism in this, and I don't really think we should place that kind of burden on a college to try to figure that out. As for students leaving these laying around, they're not cheap. These devices cost money, and I remember when I was in college, I hardly had any money. So if I had taken some of my hard-earned money to purchase one of these to protect myself, I'm gonna keep track of it. So I don't really think that's going to be a problem.
Thank you. Just like they keep up with their cell phones, right?
Well, their parents probably pay for their cell phones. All right, Mr. Speaker, I know we're very busy today, and I appreciate everyone's time. I ask for your favorable consideration of House
You
Bill
only have
790.
about 6 more questions.
6 more? I think the will of
But
the...
as you said, we are busy.
Yes, sir. I think at this time, I will yield the well, sir, and I ask for people's favorable consideration of House Bill 792.
Chair recognizes the chairman of the Public Safety and Homeland Security Committee to speak to the bill.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to get near as lengthy today as I was yesterday. And I want to thank Mr. Brockaway for bringing this bill forward to answer some of the questions of some of the folks that have concerns. Let me remind you that these are not and I stand accused of calling this a Second Amendment light, but that's not what this is. These are not registered devices. These are defensive type devices. For the best known, I don't know of any deaths that's been created by these in recent history. These things can be purchased in arms stores. They can be purchased in, quite frankly, you can purchase some of these devices in hardware stores because they're strictly defensive. It's basically to protect somebody and with a non-lethal dose of whatever it is. I would encourage the members of this body to step forward to vote for this. At the end of the day, this isn't just about, this isn't a Second Amendment issue, but it's just about personal protection. And I would encourage you to vote for this, because if we don't, then I guess the next thing might be to ban walking canes and sharp-pointed umbrellas. But it's a good bill. It's been perfected by the Public Safety Committee, and I encourage your support. Thank you, Mr. Speaker and ladies and gentlemen.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee substitute? The chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 792 will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of House Bill 792. The ayes are 117, the nays are 46. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 851.